Worst case, we get drunk and we do it again. Danny, how are you? You all right?
I'm good, yeah. How are you?
Not too bad. I'm assuming you're just as locked down as we are in Scotland.
Yeah, we went back in full lockdown there on New Year's morning.
Okay. Have you been given a deadline or a date to target to get back to normality to an extent?
I'm not 100% sure. I know the schools are closed down for a bit longer. Secondary schools are staying open 3 days a week now, so they're not going back to full school.
Okay. Yeah, I think everything from our side, including the schools, is back to home learning in Scotland until the 1st of February. And then I think England are currently voting to try and go way beyond that. So I'm not sure what the outcome is. Obviously, the world's in a very weird place right now. So, yeah, it's a bit crazy. Obviously, all of us know you as Brannmanndan. I don't know if I've pronounced that correctly, but
yeah, you got it perfect. Yeah, Brannmanndan.
Brannmanndan.
Not Banana-Mandan or Brannmanndan or
Brannmanndan is my personal favorite. What's the story behind that? I know it briefly, but give us the insight of how that name came around.
I was still fighting when it came up first, and it's Norwegian for fireman.
Okay.
So there was a couple of the Norwegians were calling me that, like, just messing. When I was starting the YouTube channel, then you know how hard it is to get a name on the YouTube channel that's not already taken.
Yeah.
And I was looking through loads, and I just went Brannmanndan. It rhymes. I look it up. It was available. Looking back, it's a stupid name because it has nothing to do with kickboxing. If I had a name with kickboxing in it, I'd probably have 1,000 more subscribers.
Really? Do you think?
I think definitely. Like, as soon as I got that logo, I started using that logo, the subscribers shot up. Because I was playing around with different logos. When I got that logo, the subscribers almost doubled overnight. It was like a huge increase.
No way.
So if I had a name with kickboxing or martial arts or karate or something in the title, I think I would have way more subscribers now.
That's well, obviously it's not so relevant to kickboxing, but day-to-day life for you is super relevant. Some people may not realize, everyone thinks that, you know, everyone involved in kickboxing purely does kickboxing, but tell us a little bit about your background in general, like from a personal side, like job-wise.
Well, I'm a fireman, so that's where the name came from. I was a carpenter before that. When I started kickboxing, I was a carpenter. Then I got fed up with that and done postman for a while, and then got into the fire brigade on the second try. It's not easy to get into the fire brigade here, so
I think
I've done well to get in. It's the best job I ever had. Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong, in Ireland, the fire brigade double up as paramedics as well?
Yeah, we're all paramedics as well. So we take turns on the ambulance. So nobody likes being on the ambulance because you're busy constantly. It's like the ambulance is out non-stop.
Yeah.
From as soon as you go in at 9 o'clock till you finish at 6, you're out all day. Right. On the fire truck, you get time to relax, sit down and have a bit of chat.
Yeah. No, it's obviously it's a name that I hear mispronounced on a regular basis.
Yeah.
And
I think most people have kind of got it now by this stage because it's been around for, I think, 11 years now.
So is that the same length of time for the YouTube channel itself? About 11 years since you started this whole
Well, my first YouTube channel was Danny9693365, which was my phone number because, again, it was hard to get a name. So after I was like, I can't use that. It's too hard to remember. So I went for another one that's equally hard to remember.
And the end's right in the middle. Like you just
it's double N, single N. Yeah.
Yeah. Even now, like if I'm no techno person by any chance, but I'll get onto the laptop and I'll be like, oh, I need to get onto there, and I'll YouTube and I'll just try and search every now and then quickly and chuck Brannmanndan into the search box, knowing the channel's going to come up.
Yeah, it kind of finds it anyway. Like no matter what the spelling you're going to Google, it finds a lot of different spellings.
I'm about.
I think actually when I made the website, I think I have a lot of different spellings in it as well in the in the metadata stuff
for idiots like me. So that's probably quite a good move. So what's your background? Obviously, you just said that you competed before. Tell us about your martial arts background in general.
Yeah, when I was about 10, I done Kempo for about 6 months.
Okay.
And it was fun, but I can't even remember why I gave it up. Then I started getting fat as a teenager, and I only started when I was 21, kickboxing.
Right, okay.
Started with Roy Baker. And I found out I was pretty good at punching people and kicking people. So I kind of moved through the ranks fairly quickly in terms of competition. Like I was fighting in the black belt sections when I was a green belt, and then got my black belt in 2002. And then I thought, well, the belt's not getting any blacker, so I'm not grading again. So I'm still a first dan black belt, just because I've no interest in going through 7 hours of pain again.
Yeah, so decent black belt grading then, yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah, we had Steve Winsborough and Matt Winsborough over.
Oh, really?
So they were there for my grading, yeah.
That kickboxing royalty. That's a great grading panel. Jesus.
Yeah. And Gary Kelly was down as well from Northern Ireland as well. So
great.
We had a tough old session there. 7 hours of pain.
Is there anybody in that black belt grading now that's still involved that we'd know? Like,
yeah, everyone was there. Who was there? Eric Byrne got it with me. Well, he's not doing it anymore, so he got his black belt with me, and Nicky Tracy got a black belt with me, I think. And then there was a few going for second dan and third dan. Michal McCann, Mitch was getting his third dan. Dara Gagan was getting his third dan. Ronald Cuthbert was getting his third dan. Ilya, I think, was getting his second. I think Ilya is now the highest rank out of all Royal black belts. He's a fifth dan, so he's the highest grade of everyone that trained under Roy, I think.
And that's Bushido, isn't it? Bushido martial arts.
That's Bushido, yeah.
Yeah, you always see the suits.
We had good, when I was training hard, we had good teammates. Elaine was there. Elaine got a black belt just after me. But she's gone on to outrank me again because she kept grading. So it was good, yeah. We had a good team there.
Listen, you still got a good team. Like, one of my highlights of the kickboxing calendar is obviously the White Tiger by Damien Gormley, White Tiger Challenge, and that team event. I think I have some of the fondest memories of team events. For me are the most underrated category in any tournament.
The last one we done, we had Elaine was doing the draws, and she's on the team. She's like, right, there's 4 teams in it. Who do we fight? Do we fight Tala or do we fight Karali and Elijah? I was like, well, we can fight Tala every day. Let's fight a team of full world champions. So I got out and got to fight Elijah in the last one, which was fun.
Listen, it's always a slightly emotional experience. Now, if we look
at, still never forgive him though, because like I was doing the karate kick, the crane kick.
I was there.
Body jab me. Come on, man.
I don't know if we want a section on the body jab in this episode just yet. It might cause too much controversy, but I do remember that body jab. But that team event and that tournament itself, like especially now during lockdown, I find myself looking back at tournaments that not just run for the sake of a tournament's sake, like a lot of them do and have to. Obviously, it gives us a circuit, but the ones that really you enjoy spending time with people, right? And the White Tiger for me is one of these things that ticks every box, from my coaching head, bringing students through to high level tournament, right? You get great fighters turn up to it. Yeah,
it's good. Yeah, but it's the only one we fight at, like me, Elaine, Ilya. Shoggy still fights. He still does a lot of fighting, and Dalton as well. So, well, Dalton still fights as well. But for me, Elaine and Ilya, it's the only tournament we fight at. It's just because it's fun.
So White Tiger goes on for 3 to 5 more years, for example. I know there's a bit of history and stuff to do with White Tiger.
I think this is the last one. It was supposed to be this year because I think the hotel has been redeveloped or something.
Yeah, it's a pain.
So I think this year now, 2021 would be the last one.
But if it was to run for 5 more years, would you guys be?
Still, yeah. It would be fun,
I love it.
Depends if I'm not training for it.
For me, it's one of my favorite tournaments by far, and it's one that we've kind of really missed as well.
It's just because it's so relaxed. It's like you're down in the hotel. You're in the hotel. It's like the Irish Open. You're in the hotel of the sport event. So
Irish Open, we might as well do it.
Not on this year.
Listen, it's heartbreaking. I think that kind of, I don't know, but I can't speak for everybody, but I know for a lot of us, maybe earlier on in lockdown, October, November time, we were all kind of, the general saying was, we'd be lucky if we get a tournament before the Irish Open. And obviously, that's not happening now. What's
everything's cancelled.
The story behind that?
About which?
About why the Irish Open's not running? Is it?
City West is being used as an overflow hospital for COVID. Yeah. So the hotel rooms itself are for people that like frontline workers that can't isolate at home because they've got older people living with them or families living at them. So they're people like that are staying in the hotel, and then the conference center itself is actually being used as a hospital.
Is it?
So, and they have that until May, I think. They have it, the HFC, the health board here, have it block booked until then. So, hotels not available, can't run the competition.
Yeah, it's a mad spectrum. Do you think, obviously, you're in a very unique position, like you kind of get a great overview. I know you're involved with WAKO on boards and stuff, but also because you're there at every event. Do you see, how do you see the land lying this year, like tournament wise? Are we going to get some, do you think, or are we going to struggle?
Point Fighting Cup is scheduled.
Yeah, I've seen that.
But it goes, I hope it goes ahead. Look, I'm dying to get out of this country. I haven't been away since Germany last year at the Top 10 Open, a Deals tournament in tournament. So that's a good one. But yeah, like that's the last time I was out of the country, and I'm going crazy just here because I actually got the email yesterday or this morning from Google saying your timeline for the year, how many countries you visited, and I'm like 4. I'm like, oh, jeez. That's nothing.
Like, and what's it? What on average? What is it normally in a year?
Like 15 different countries. So
that's crazy.
Yeah.
I hope it does go ahead, but it just feels maybe slightly tight again, time frame wise.
Yeah,
I don't know how person if it did, but
I don't know how they're gonna do it with regards. We're gonna have to prove we have tests. Because I know because I'm in the fire brigade, I'll be getting vaccine now in the next few weeks.
Okay.
We got a thing yesterday from the fire brigade saying I think it's in 3 weeks time or over the next 3 weeks, all the fire brigade will be get the first round of vaccine, and then 3 weeks later get the second round, and then they're vaccinated after 7 days. It's fully working. So hopefully with that I'll be able to travel a bit. I don't know. Even with the vaccine, I think you can still carry it. Like you can still, like it's still on your skin and on your. So you still have to wear the mask and gloves and wash your hands and all that.
Which makes the tournament very difficult, right?
Yeah, yeah. But it's only a year. It's only 1 year of. Most people live to about 75, 80. So.
It's definitely been a weird spectrum for us as coaches as well, because obviously if you're a competitive school like myself who kind of lives and breathes tournaments and it's a major lifeblood of your club, it kind of, this is really changed the spectrum for us, because you end up trying to focus on home turf, and then you can't really do that either because you're doing it via Zoom. As we're talking now is probably how I've taught most of my classes for 2020. If you told me 5 years ago this was going to be my way of making income,
it wouldn't even have been possible 5 years ago.
Yeah, do you know what?
We didn't have Zoom 5 years ago, and we didn't have the technology. So
yeah, it's a saving grace. It's the lesser of two evils. The other one being unemployment. So it is frightening for sure. Brannmanndan has obviously grown arms and legs from recording from a basic level to what it is now. Did you expect and plan for this growth when you first started it? And if you did, like, who actually funds all of this? Because I've seen the hardware you take just to the summer camp in Greece for Nikos, and that's the smallest of scales. And then I've seen 1,000 GoPros in your bag. Like, how does it all work? And was it planned?
Well, not to have all that equipment, it certainly wasn't planned. I started, I think it was around 2007. When YouTube was just starting to take ground. And I was watching fights on YouTube, and they were recorded sideways on phones, like how bad are the phones in 2007?
I've got loads.
Yeah, so they were recorded sideways, and you're watching the fight, and then it just cuts off halfway through the fight. And you're like, who the hell won? What's the result?
Yeah.
And as well as that, there was no videos of my fights, and I wanted to look back and be able to see them. So I was finished fighting. I said, all right, I'm going to start doing this properly. And I bought one camera, a JVC Handycam type yoke shit. Probably want to bleep out the bad language. And
I'm definitely going to drop something at some stage, so I wouldn't stress too much.
And started going around the tournaments and just recording full fights from start to finish and editing on Sony Vegas Pro. And it took forever and putting them up. And I was doing them down on the first channel, Danny 999 or 9693365, that one. And then after a while, ASG gave me some sponsorship, because they saw I was putting up good videos. I was with them for about a year, you know, the start, I have their logo. And then started buying more equipment, and it just grew from there. Now I've got 5 good quality cameras and load of equipment, like 5 good big JVC professional cameras that can also live stream as well directly from them, and a whole load of little gadgets and gizmos and gimbals and drones and all kinds of stuff. So Top 10, I know I've been sponsored by them for maybe 7 years, 6 or 7 years.
Oh, okay.
And that helps me pay. Like you said about funding it, I pay for it all myself. I get a little bit of payment now. I didn't at the start from each tournament. They cover my expenses and a small fee, but that's just, I found if I didn't charge people, then people were taking the piss.
Yeah.
They were like, oh, come over to my tournament, come over to my tournament. I'd go over and I'd do all the tournament, do all the work. And when I'm at a tournament, I only charge them for the days I'm there. I don't charge them for the day's travel or the days traveling back, and then the days after, the week after spent editing.
Yeah, I've spoke to you about editing before, and like that's got to be the vein of it, isn't it?
Yeah, for every day of competition, there's a day of editing at least, or per camera, really.
Per camera.
Yeah. So I've got 5 cameras now. So if there's a ring, it's easy. I can just set a camera up and look at the ring, and it doesn't have to move. It's a little bit far away, but it's okay. When you're under the tatamis, it's better to have movement because people can go out of the area and stuff like that. So luckily, I had great help from Trina. Whenever she's at a tournament, she'll always give me a dig in, and then there's a few other people like Henrietta's helped out, Caroline from Germany's helped out, Livia's helped out, Dominic's helped out, Timmy, Nick. There's a whole bunch of people that when they're at tournaments, if they're not doing that, they'll come down and they'll grab a camera and just record.
I've actually done it once badly myself.
And Adam as well. Adam done a whole female grand champion in Austria.
Funny they chose the grand champion.
The women's grand champion.
Yeah, he's a good shot selection on that one. That's a smart boy. But did you imagine it to become the resource that it's become? Because like for me as a coach, during lockdown, prior to lockdown, if anything came up for my team, I was in this really cool position where I could actually look. I'm not really interested in people training because we all know that's a bit snidey when people start watching people train. But from my perspective, it's more that I could see them fight. I could look at a division and get a take on it. So as a coach, I pride myself on planning and not just reacting and responding on the day. And I know a lot of people feel the same way. It's a massive resource to our sport now.
Well, it wasn't originally intended. It was originally intended for people to be able to, who won a world title, to be able to look at the fight again and have a memory.
Yeah.
And it kind of became more people are using it to study other fighters more so than just letting their granny or granddad see them win a world title.
See, I love that because that's my fondest. Although I talk about a resource and stuff, I'm sure you remember because you filmed it, but Natasha winning her world title in the last 2 seconds in Dublin.
Yeah.
I could watch that last 10 seconds back now. I couldn't watch it for a very long time, mine, because I aged 10 years that day. But I definitely can dial into the memory side of it because you watch that moment and it takes you back instantly to every emotion and feeling that you felt, which is the most unanalytical thing a coach could probably say. I don't look at that fight and go, I wish you did that. I wish you did that. Maybe a bit more now, but my emotion will take over my coach head all day long for that one moment in that in history.
Yeah. That's it. Like emotion takes over when you're fighting. Like I can't remember most of my fights. I won the Irish Open 3 times, and I know I fought Chris Collymore one time, and I fought a Polish guy the other time. I can't remember who the third guy was.
Really?
So yeah, and it was like contact. I just wanted to win the points in the Irish Open. that was it. I just wanted to win points, and I got onto the podium once. I think Robbie Laval beat me in the semi-final.
No way.
Then he went on to fight Daz Ellis in the final.
Oh,
and I think I can't remember who won that actually, Robbie or Daz. But I remember I was walking out because it was Robbie's first Irish Open, and he was only like 15 or 16. And I'm walking out and going, oh, look at this guy. He's tiny. I'm going to kill him. Like I was 24, 25 at the time, like, and then he just came out and I think it was like 2 or 3 points in it at the end, but his leg, I was just like, how is he able to kick like that? He was incredible.
I think he's one of the fighters that the most photographed fighter where his foot should be is where his head should be.
Yeah.
That drop down.
Yeah, I got a great photo of him in Coimbra in Portugal at the 2007 World Championships. Yep. And his name is down the leg of the trousers and his foot is on the other guy's head, and it's just perfect roundhouse kick to the head. And yeah, it's one of my favorite photos from, because in 2007 I was taking photos before I was doing videos.
All right, okay. No, I think it's, for me, like, there's a great resource, but I think it's important to dial in the memory side of it for sure. You've captured quite a lot, and that's one of the reasons why
there's about 20,000 videos now between the two of my own channels, and I run the WAKO channel as well. Like, I set up the WAKO channel, and
okay,
I coordinate at the tournaments. I put it, like, when there's live streams there, the companies are there. I make all the streams, and then they just send it to that stream. So between the 3 channels, there's about 20,000 videos.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. Do you want to spell the myth that you're making millions via YouTube?
Well, if I was making millions, I'd still be. I wouldn't be a fireman anymore. Now, when I started the website, I got Google AdSense, and I was like, all right, this is great. You put the ads on your website, and my friend started his website as well, and we were clicking on each other's ads. We got up to about €13, and Google AdSense said, yeah, you're banned for life. That's invalid click activity. So if I'd have known then, what I know now, I wouldn't have done that. I'd have about 15 million views worth of, even at 1 cent each would have been phenomenal money.
That true, is it? Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't make any money out of it.
Are we not fighting that? No, like a ban for life.
I put in a couple of appeals, and they have that many people making footage. They don't have to worry about me. And 15 million views over all the videos is tiny compared to what YouTube. Like, Logan Paul gets 15 million views in an afternoon, like, so, on one video. Jeez. So it's a live and learn situation. Don't click on your own ads.
It seems hard.
Well, however, there's the thing: if you want to get someone else banned and stop someone else making money, just click on their ads repeatedly. There's
a few people.
So just go onto their website and keep clicking on their ads from the same IP address, and Google go, invalid click activity, you're banned.
There we go, kids. There's a life lesson from Danny Slevin.
I'm already banned, so I don't have to worry.
You're done. The cliche questions, obviously. Favorite fight that you filmed, or your favorite fight that you can remember going, like, this is something special? Or if you've got a couple, then yeah. But what sticks in? All right, it's 20,000 to pick from, dude.
Yeah. Robbie Lavoie, like I mentioned him earlier, he's always great to watch.
I think we should get him on here. This would be hilarious.
Yeah. The first, I remember back when Ray started fighting in the basketball arena, and the crowds he used to pull around.
Oh.
I remember one of the fights he threw a drop kick, like 2 legs up in the air, and he landed on his ass and no score. But it was just like he just was a highlight reel, and so all of his fights were worth watching. And Robbie and Zolt's fights are always classics.
God, dear, that brings an atmosphere. It gets very cold in the room. It's like Voldemort's just strolled in. It's not it's not a nice one to be around, that one.
Yeah. Actually, Louisa Galati can pull it out of a bag. I remember seeing her fighting in Best Fighter, and point down with 1 second to go in the team event, and pulls out a hook kick to the head.
She likes the last minute.
I've seen her do that twice. I'm like, right, if you're ever down against the Wizard, I know she's finished now. If you're ever down against the Wizard, and you're up, she only got that. You know what's coming. It's that hook kick to the head. So
I've done a few of these during lockdown. Like I've appeared on people's kind of chats and podcasts. And I was asked for my favorite fight, and mine was, again, you probably filmed it, Bev versus Louisa
at
Bristol Open. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it blew my mind then, and it blows my mind now when I watch it. Like, you just don't expect it. Like, it's unreal.
I think now there's a lot of referees that stop that fight after Because that fight wouldn't have continued with a lot of referees now. They would have just said, no, she's been knocked out. Because she was basically flash knockout.
100%, yeah.
And it's just can't step back in on the...
It's a hard one to call because I've seen a couple of flash knockouts over the years. And it's easy to say the referees would stop it. It's easy to say if that's my fighter, I'd stop it. If I'm standing behind that fighter, it's not as clear anymore.
Yeah.
And
especially when you're that fighter. That is too, like,
stopping. Yeah.
You get sparked, you go, oof, where am I for a second? And then you're back in it and you go, yeah, I'm good to go. CTE can affect me later.
Yeah, and it's it's the lack of clarity that allows you to continue, right?
Yeah.
Because you go there and go, I don't really know what happened. I must be cool. Let's go again. But really,
Yeah, like, I remember actually, Ilya was fighting in Belgium one year and he got knocked out. I think it was Belgium at the Flanders Cup. And this is a long time ago, like 2001, 2002. Got knocked out and got back up, won the fight, won the tournament. But for the next 20 minutes, he's just sitting there going, so, am I fighting now? No, you fought. Did I win? Yeah, you won. Okay, am I fighting now? No, you fought. And this went on repeatedly for 20 minutes. So I was like, oh, he's bad. Like, after an hour or so, he was grand, but like, he was just didn't know what was happening. It was a complete concussion.
Wow.
That was the first time I'd ever seen proper concussion.
Well, obviously follow on. You've mentioned a lot of great names there already, but do you have fighters that stick out in your head as a favorite fighter, male and female?
Louisa, the favorite female, definitely without doubt.
Yeah.
I was going to say the best female fighters of all time, with putting it up between her and Bev. But the reason I give it to Louisa is because Bev has that height advantage, and like, she's bigger than most of the girls she fights.
Yeah.
In the same way now as Roman is one of the best fighters at the moment. Like, him and Elijah are the two, probably 1 and 2. Well, we have to go back for the year before COVID, but in their form at that time. Elijah and Roman and Tolly as well would be in the conversation.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't give it to Roman just because if he was the same height, this is the thing I was thinking of. If you put like Robbie Lavoie, Roman Brundle, Ray, Richie Veres, Robbie McMenemy, Elijah, all in an open weight, but they're all the same height and the same weight.
Yeah.
If they're all exactly 6 foot and they're all the same weight, but they all still have their attributes, who would win in that case?
I hope you're not asking me that. Like,
it's a tough one, isn't it? I'm probably going to put my money on Robbie Lavoie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like, look what he's done in open weight tournaments against people who are 6'5".
You could argue that the reason his success in that situation, based on that, is because he's actually smaller than everybody else.
Yeah, but look at the distance he covers. He's getting in on top of fighters that he should be getting nowhere near.
But is he getting on top of them because they're so big and they're struggling to cut the distance because he's so fast?
Yeah, well,
at 6 foot, can he still do that?
That's what I'm saying. If they all got to 6 foot with their attributes, so Roman can still kick like he kicks. He's just a little bit shorter.
That's a can of worms that I'm not interested in, Danny. Like, it's a great point. And like, for me, Louisa and Bev, they're hard to argue. Like, obviously with Natasha's fought both of them. She's had success against both, but as a coach, that's not a fight that I enjoy. For the first part of our relationship, I got to watch Bev destroy Natasha with body hook kicks with the heel of the foot. She's got a horrible arsenal of stuff when she's comfortable. We got a couple of victories back. The thing I love about her is, right, that what you get before a tournament, during a tournament, and after a tournament off the mat with Bev is identical. And it's the same with the top end guys in general, but I can remember like Tasha's fighting her in a team event and it was super close. At just one point, she just rugby tackled Tasha, sat on top and punched her in the head.
I remember that. I remember I saw that.
Watford a few years ago. And I was like, what are you doing? And she just laughed. And I'm like, am I angry? Am I finding this funny? And I'm looking at
then kicking her up the bum while she was walking away.
Yeah. And I'm looking at Tasha. I'm like, is she angry at this? Is she going to kick off? Do we kick off? And then she comes off and she's like, oh, sorry about that. I just thought it was quite fun. I'm like, what's wrong with you? You're not wired properly. But that's, I love Bev and Louisa the same. But the men's spectrum, there was a time when there didn't seem to be a trend of, well, we had some dominant forces, but pre-COVID,
like the whole karate team for a number of years. Like Thomas, Gombe, Christian was old, Richie, Alex, Roland, and I don't know now. Was Altus retired? Christian is retired. Gombe fights in America, I think, still, but not really anywhere in Europe. And I think that's just
Thomas might fight in America a little bit still.
I think they're fighting a Paul Mitchell team. Paul Mitchell. So they go over there. Just I don't know what is, maybe the sponsorship. Maybe they're getting paid. I don't know.
It's a different world over there. Though. Like we went to America for the first time last year to the Amerikick tournament.
Yeah.
And like the rules set, the setup, prize money, like everything is very, very different to Europe.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, if you're fighting for prize money and it's good prize money, why wouldn't you? And you're going to take it, then obviously you're going to fight.
We went there and we must have come just short of $3,000 from the categories.
Yeah,
like I think there's a lot to be said about that. Obviously, it's a lot more expensive to enter a division, but if you're a top end fighter, you're willing to risk a little bit more of an entry fee in the hope of a bigger pot at the end, right?
Yeah.
But and obviously, that era, you had the Crowley guys, you had Ray very much in the mix, especially in Ireland. Robbie McMenemy obviously used to cause loads of grief and do funny stuff on stage. The men's division itself seems to go through this pool of fighters. What do you think now? Like that pool seems to be slightly more reduced to the same 2 or 3.
Yeah, like I said earlier, it's Roman, Tolly, and Elijah kind of in the Grand Champion finals most of the time. Is it just because they're the ones traveling to everything? I don't know. There might be a few other fighters that just aren't going to as many tournaments, so we don't see them as much.
Yeah.
But the three of them definitely go to everything. And it's like when you're fighting every week, it's going to sharpen your skills. You're going to be, you're going to keep winning.
I think I've seen a few things on Facebook thrown out that COVID's going to change the playing field when we go back. I completely disagree with that. I think the ones that win will always find a way to win. Do you see it the same way, or do you think we are
exactly
champions?
Yeah, winning's a habit. You don't once you start winning, you expect that of yourself, and you're not gonna start losing just because we had a year off. All the best fighters are still trying, and you can see it. They're doing Zoom seminars. They're teaching over Zoom. They're doing their own workouts on Instagram, all this kind of stuff. So like the ones that are serious about it, like probably the one that's trying the hardest is I think Elijah.
I speak to Elijah, every couple of weeks, and nothing's changed. Like for him, like his training's still the same. For me, he feels like he's still training as if he was in peak, not even off season.
Yeah, he's gonna be so hungry when he comes back now, because he's like been training constantly for a year with no competition. So, and theoretically now with no Irish Open this year, he's a 2-year Irish Open champion because he hasn't been beaten this year.
That's true. The longest reigning champion from one set of fights. I love it.
Yeah. Well, like it's a shame because he probably could go on to equal Ray. But
imagine if he's one short because of COVID. If I was Ray, I wouldn't let him live it down. Like,
back just to stop him equaling
it. Favorite tournament, or is that a difficult one?
Austrian Classics, probably.
Good shout. I like Australia.
Finishes early on the Sunday, like about 5 or 6 o'clock. So.
You're going for the tactical finish. I like it. Okay.
But no, it's like it has everything.
Now, but it never used to. It used to be wild.
Yeah. Sport data has made a huge difference to all competitions. Like, no, you just open your phone, you see when you're fighting. It's so much better, and the areas are run at different times, so there's no double starts. Like the biggest thing when you're running the competition with sport data is trying to eliminate double starts, so there's no fighter running from area to area. And with sport data, it's just saving so much time. I can't, like, any competition that's not using it is mad. It's just madness.
It's a cool system as a coach as well, because I'm super competitive, and sports stats give me the opportunity to get competitive again on a league table. So,
and it gives us statistics as well.
That's what I mean. Like, I'll look at that after day one and be nowhere near something, and I can pull the team in. You may think it's weird, but I'll pull the team in and go, yo, we're here. We need to be up here. And it's quite a good motivational tool for me as a coach. I don't care what anyone says, you're going there to win. And if you can see that you're not winning, then that can be enough to boost the whole team's morale to go, right, well, let's try and get into that top 5 that, let's face it, everyone's going to screenshot the top 10 after that. No one really cares. Again, that's
one problem with having that statistic is the clubs that just want to be in that top 5 that are putting their advanced fighters in the beginner sections.
Oh, I don't agree. That's a different story.
I know it's a whole different story, but that's like clubs are going away and they're screenshotting, oh, look, we were number 1 at this tournament, to advertise to their local community and go, like, this is how good we are. But they're not telling the story that they're after putting like 15 black belts into white belt sections.
It's just, I think it's up there with people who say, like, I'm a world champion. Like, no one, if you're outside the sport, you don't know what you did to validate that title.
Like, that's I have a European title in light contact, WP ABCD or something. I can't remember. I don't ever consider myself a European champion. Profi title, world profi title or something. I can't remember.
It might be WPKA.
Might be it's a blue belt, yeah.
I think I've got a couple of bronze medals in that, to be fair. You'll find them on my website.
But like, I wouldn't go around saying I'm European champion, because it was one fight. It was a good fight, but it's not. For me, world and European champions are WAKO.
I think as a standard, I think there's some great fighters in other organizations.
Absolutely, there's fantastic fighters, but just the overall standard of all the fighters, I'd put, are higher than WAKO. I'm going to get slated for saying that.
Yeah, likewise, and I have done in the past, and this is opening up again. But like, Natasha has 10 more titles. If you look at the Wolfpack logo, there's 3 that sit above the 3 stars. They represent the 2 WAKO world titles and the 1 WAKO Pro world title. Because as a club, as a person, as a couple, as a whatever, they're the ones that, for us, are the validation of what our kickboxing journey is about. Now, if someone feels the same way about another organization, they want to put X amount of stars on top of theirs, I'm not going to dismiss that idea. But for me, that's my benchmark. That's my best of the best. So you're going to add more stars to the logo if any of the members of the club, or just the Natasha wins? Or? No. That anybody from the club wins a senior WAKO world title.
Yeah, that's cool.
And the proof's kind of in the pudding. We've had them since, I think she won it 2015. Was that Dublin?
Ooh. Yeah, Dublin was 2015. Yeah,
I think she won it within a year. She won the WAKO Pro 2016. We've not added any stars to our logo, and I love it. And that kind of validates it. Whereas
you'd love it, but you'd like to add more.
I literally just want my logo to be stars. But that's the reason, and that's okay. Here's an important question: how many points should a sweep be worth?
I was always a fan of a sweep. I think I've done it at every World Championships I fought in. I don't know if given 2 is. I don't know. I'd like to. Yeah, probably. I want to see it get 2, because then you'd see more of them.
I think it's worth it.
Yeah,
I think it's harder to sweep someone.
There's no better feeling than sweeping someone on their first attack. Like, I remember in 2003, I was fighting a guy from Ukraine in the first round, and he just came out with his legs, bam, 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 and I went, big mistake, and he went down, and then I bet him 10-0, because all his confidence was gone, because he was a kicker, and he just all of a sudden went, what do I do now?
And take that weapon away,
yeah. And then I swept him a second time. I got a 1. And the second time, the German referee, and she said it was too high, and it wasn't too high. It was perfect.
Did you watch it back on Brannmanndan?
No, pre-Brannmanndan. This is why I started Brannmanndan, because I'd love to see that fight. Getting 10-0 at the World Championships.
My thing is, right, is I can teach a kid or an adult how to kick someone in the head kind of quickly. To teach someone the timing of a good sweep is in my opinion, a higher skill set. I'm a massive poster boy for 2 points for the sweep for sure. I think
actually, you're probably right. 2 points for the sweep.
I'm going to ask this
We
every
get to see
single
more
episode, and if anyone says 1 point, I'm not even going to publish it. That's how confident and passionate I feel about the sweeps.
Like I got me blacked out with Roy. Roy was great at sweeps. Roy.
I heard this rumor that
he used to sweep everyone as well.
I heard a rumor that if you try and kick Roy more than twice, he's probably going to sweep you.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
Really?
Yeah. I think maybe it's another thing because Robbie does it and Dean does it as well. And Grillo was awesome at them.
Oh, there's a couple of dirty ones there where
the two in Bristol against Zolt.
Was that the one where he pretty much landed on his head? Yeah.
Yeah, he just upended him.
Oh, that was big.
Once in the centre of the ring and once over in the corner of the ring.
Bristol, was it? I wasn't sure where that one was.
Yeah, that was the old hall in Bristol.
All right, okay. I never actually went to Bristol at that time. Bristol for me is not a new tournament. I've been in for a good few years now, but at the time it was one that just was so at the end of the year, I'd always be like, okay, you know what, I'm not making it. But we started doing it because it grew so well. It's gone on to be one of my favorite tournaments. But that sweep was
actually that's one of my favorite tournaments as well.
Yeah,
because every year they ask for suggestions. How can we make it better? You come back the next year and they've done that suggestion. Like they go, okay, well we've done this. If you go up to Sean or Andy or Sharon, you just go, look, you have the scoreboards on the middle, and if you move them out to the outside, it's going to work better. And then the next year came back and it was done.
Yeah.
But plus they got Sport Data as well in 2 years ago. I think they started with Sport Data.
I think as well, like Andy's very on the pulse with most things. I think that team of promoters has been key to their success.
Yeah.
And then they pulled a blinder getting JC in to help run the floor.
Yeah.
JC's a nightmare for me as a coach because I can kind of talk my way to certain things, but JC being the same type of coach knows how to eliminate that. And it's I appreciate it 9 times out of 10, but on that one occasion, I'm like, JC, give me a break, mate.
Similar, you even have the same club name.
Listen, do you know the story behind that?
For your Wolfpack or his Wolfpack?
Mine's boring. It was a nickname and it grew. But I know his dad had an infinity with Wolves and spent time at a sanctuary. So everyone always asks us about that. And JC's super humble with it because although the inception of Wolfpack martial arts in Edinburgh was first, when he brought his fight team out to that, like Tony Cashman was actually one of the first people to referee me when I was fighting as a color belt. And then JC's always very good, like Kevin. It's just 2 different packs. And for me, I dial into that straight away. I'm much more harmonious about it. People was like, oh, it's another Wolfpack. Like some of those guys, like I squad trained with Sean when I was a color belt. I fought next to Sean and someone else at a random tournament in Italy once as a color belt because they needed a 3rd fighter. Like when we're fighting each other on a mat, it's not necessarily civil and pretty, but like for me, I get on with a lot of people, and there's certainly a category of people that I actually enjoy the banter side of things, and it looks almost on the verge of aggressive, but I probably wouldn't have it any other way, to be honest. It's the same with me and Robbie McMenemy. Like we've had a couple of times where we've been at tournaments opposite each other, and Robbie would be like, "Time, I know the rules," and I'll be like, "Well, time, I also know the rules." And here's the irony: the last one to put us in was actually JC Cashman, was the centre referee. Going, guys, I know you wrote the rules, but so do we. Can you let us get on with it? And I was like, I will if he will. And then Robbie would be like, well, I will if he will. And we were there again. I'm like, this is a long 2-minute round.
He's one of the worst, especially if you're refereeing one of his fighters. He's one of the worst to have a coach. He's a nightmare.
Listen, I'm not gonna talk about any of that because I'm pretty sure a lot of people talk to me in the same light. So I think it's good that. I
think it's because me and him are such good friends as well. He's trying to wind me up like while he's coaching. So
I like it. That's probably the bit I miss during all of this. Like the tournaments are great, but the interactions with people like yourself and like you're great at a tournament. You don't just bring a camera; you actually add into the experience. Like not just a good chat, but you'll be throwing pieces of like fudge at people. You'll be like getting people. That's me just trying to get more sweets off you, by the way. But like
I haven't made them. In a long time.
But it's definitely.
Although the white chocolate with the berries one was, wasn't it?
I didn't have that one.
The white chocolate with crunchy and berries.
Was that the one at the Irish Open?
Can't remember. I think maybe I had it in Bristol.
The stuff you had on the desk at the weigh-in.
The fudge, yeah.
the fighters there were coming off dehydrated or cutting weight, and you're giving them sugar, and it looked like they were on crack, running around the place. Like, yeah. I think Adam had a bit of that last time, and he was literally like, I was like, "What have you been eating?" And he's like, "Oh, I just had some of that stuff that Danny gave me." I'm like, "Oh my god!"
Don't say it like that. That's so bad. It's just sugar.
That's a different podcast.
It's just brown sugar and butter.
Mate, it's so good. One of the other questions I got asked a lot in the podcasts that I've done: should tatami sport be a stepping stone for other sports? It's something I'm very passionate about, because my argument is that we have our own journey to a level staying on a tatami if we choose to. But there's a few people with this conception that mat sport is a warm up to get in the ring. Mat sport is purely a stepping stone to go fight in a cage. I don't think it has to be down that path personally, but what's your opinion on it?
I think light contact and kick light are kind of stepping stones into full contact and K1 and low kick. Points is just a totally different sport. Yeah. Now, there's no problem staying in light contact or kick light, like, because they're totally different sports. Like kick light and light contact are all more about control as opposed to just knocking the other person out. Point fighting, I think, calling it a stepping stone into different sports is wrong. It certainly gives you a lot of advantages. Like you see Wonderboy Thompson and Michael Page and that when they use their time and distance in MMA, there's nobody get near them, really. Yeah. Because it's just distance control, I think, is the main thing you learn from points.
And I think it offers a great foundation. Like, it offers the foundation, but I feel like it doesn't necessarily, like, you haven't got if you become a WAKO world champion, and you gain that title, and that's the pinnacle of your career, I'd hate for someone to turn around and go, "Oh, but they didn't fight in a ring, did they?" Because it doesn't have to go into the ring.
Yeah, but also as well, I think they value the sport when they say, "I'm a WAKO world champion now. I'm stepping up to the UFC." I'm not having a dig at anyone there in particular. I know, because Dean is going into the UFC. I'm not having a go at him. Yeah. But I think it's not, if you're not stepping up, you're stepping across. It's a different sport. It's a different world title. I don't think just because one is professional, one is amateur, I don't think you're going to say, "Oh, I'm moving on to the next level now." It's not the next level. It's a sideways level. It's
maybe the next level in the side of exposure to the public.
Yeah.
Like, from that perspective,
certainly next level, get paid is a huge difference.
Absolutely, I get that. But I think every style deserves its credit from a skill set point of view. Like, look at some of the light contact guys. If some of them guys never transferred into the ring, I'm okay with it, because I've enjoyed watching them for 5 years on a tatami, and the tatami sport is probably my world in regards to my everyday life, and I enjoy watching it. I can understand that some people maybe not want to dial in as much, members of the public, to watch it sometimes, because I do feel sometimes our sport's quite hard to understand, especially point fighting.
But if you look at Thomas Barada, I don't think ever went in the ring. He just was light contact in taekwondo, and in Slovenia he's a superstar.
See, there you go.
Like, he was getting 5,000 people to his
filling arena gala.
Yeah, filling arenas, filling the galas, and like probably more than that. I just remember, because he was just finishing fighting when I was starting. Because my first world championships was 2001 in Slovenia, and he had just finished fighting, and he would have been fighting. I think he was fighting 63 as well.
Yeah, he was. So, for me, he was like, he's one of my favorite seminars. Do you remember the Austrian summer camp? Is it Fight for Fun?
His seminars are excellent. Yeah, he has it down to an art.
Oh my god, it's slick, really slick, real crowd pleasing seminar. I've been lucky to get a really good few seminars at the club. I've had a wide spectrum. He's not actually someone I've had in Scotland, but he's one of these ones where I've seen him teach, and the structure of everything that he does is really like A1, really, really good.
That's the only seminar I've seen him do, was the one in Austria at the fight camp.
Yeah.
If they're all like that, which I assume they are, because he's professional about everything. Because we were making videos for top 10 equipment at tournament, at that competition, or the fight camp, and I'd record it, and he's no, we do it again. My foot wasn't facing the right way. Yeah, I think that stems from this taekwondo, where when you're grading, your foot has to be in the right direction and your hands have to be exactly right. So
yeah,
it's probably from that, but he's absolute perfectionist, and he does that with everything he does.
I've got a few guys now because obviously there's been quite an obvious transfer from ITF coming over to play in kickboxing in the last few years. There's much in Ireland as well. I know there's a good few Irish clubs involved in that. And the foundation they bring to the table before you start working with them as a coach, kind of like a lot of people come into your door from other sports or kickboxing clubs or whatever, and you end up dealing with a lot of bad habits. With Taekwondo, you spend more time telling them to be less technical because it's over chambered. And but then
yeah, you want a shortcut.
Yeah, you need a shortcut on this one, dude. But technically, they're absolutely so proficient, and so the power, the generation. Like I held that same camp you're talking about. I held a pad for Thomas Brada and said, "Listen, I think you were there actually, Danny. Don't quote me, but I said I'm going to run at you with this, and I want you to jump in back kick the pad." And it was the big biflex, big black thing, like it looks like
yeah.
Every vertebrae in my spine clicked on impact, and I don't think he even tried, if I'm completely honest. I think it was just so technical, and I just remember I was like cracking my back, and I was like, I'm quite a big guy, it's quite hard for people to crack my back in everyday life, but I was like, that's therapy. That was nice. But yeah, he's certainly a technician, that's for sure.
Oh, definitely technique over strength gives so much more power. Like probably one of the hardest I've ever been kicked was by Tillon from Slovenia.
Another great guy.
That was at the Greek summer camp, the Legend summer camp in Nikos. And I've been hit with side kicks before that sent me flying, but he hit me and I blocked it. It was on the arm, but every bit of my body shook. And I was like, he's only 74 kilos, so I had like 5 or 6 kilos on him at the time, and it was just solid. And it wasn't where he was like stepping in and pushing it. It was just a perfect technique. And just going, when you've got good technique, you've got power.
My my earliest memory, and probably still one of the worst kicks I ever got, was from Mimo DeMarco. And he hit me with a jumping back kick. And I woke up the next day, got out of my bed, and I was like, I felt like my chest had been cracked. It was so clean and technical. And at the time, I didn't even really know who he was because I was still like an orange belt, I think. But like, it's an experience that's stayed with me for life. Like it's one of those techniques that you don't go, I'm really going to hit him hard with this. It's like, I'm just going to do it, and I know it's going to hurt. And yeah, I can remember that. So I can definitely sympathize on the technical side of it.
He can do everything though.
Mimo, yeah.
He's just his kicks the way and the 360s and 720s and everything. It's just looking down. But then he just pulled him out at the wrong time. You're like, you're winning, and then you done something crazy.
I know exactly what fight you're talking about. Summer camp. Obviously, we've had some good memories at the summer camp. With Nikos.
Well, that's my summer holidays. It won't be this year. Like all my holidays are used up for tournaments, so I don't actually go on holidays. So that one tournament a year or that summer camp, I just trade it. It's 1 week holiday a year at a beautiful resort on the Greek islands, and there's a swimming pool, there's a beach, there's a bar with Frodo coffees.
I got over this year. Lastminute.com, like you had to go through a trace system and all this type of stuff, and I reckon, without being too dramatic, it's one of the big things that kept my sanity this year, because getting over there with Effie, who's been there when Tasha was pregnant first year, after she was born a few months later, and then again and again, like for me it's everything you want in a training camp, first and foremost, because they're training 3 times a day. The level of competitors is the same as the tournament, and it just happens.
And all them kids can kick like Nikos.
It's frightening, isn't it? Like they're all it's actually frightening. And then you've got the added bonus of it being on a Greek island, which is always nice. And
that's I wasn't able to go this year because I think we were still in lockdown.
You were, yeah.
So I wasn't able to go, but it's so much fun as well.
I think for me, it's we've done lots of different bits and pieces, but I don't know about you, but for me, Nikos is one of these people that can always make you feel so welcome. And I think it's no different if it's me, a coach who has X amount of fighters bringing stuff to the table, to the random kid who's come over on their own. They feel just as welcome.
Yeah.
And I think that's a very big skill set that Nikos has. He has his position to just put an arm around everybody. And I think that's, for me, spending time in lockdown, they're the kind of people you want to spend more time with moving forward, right?
Yeah. Plus, as well, at the summer camps, then, like when the training's over, you're able to sit around and you get to meet everyone. Like, I think there's better friendships formed at that than at tournaments.
Yeah.
At tournaments, you're ready to fight each other. Yeah, and then it's only on the last night then you get to have a bit of a relaxed time with and spend it with them. But when you're there for a week with people from all over the world, it's every night you're talking to different people.
Environment as well. Like, I think it encourages you to be a bit more chill. Like,
yeah,
even with some of my best friends at tournaments, like my most used line is, "Listen, I know we're not going to get to speak this weekend, but it's lovely to see you." Like, there's nothing more I'd want to spend more than spend time with them, but like, it's just impossible. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah. Well, that's like in Best Fighter as well. The flights for Best Fighter for me are easiest are Thursday and Tuesday, so I always get the Monday as well. And generally, the Germans are there, Toli and Keisha and Domi and that. So
bunch. We spent a lot of time.
So we have like a day spent after the tournament with them, and the Hungarians are there as well on the time as well.
That's what made Greece a bit weird for us as well, because there's usually such a big pool of our friends there, but we actually got to spend a lot of time with the German guys this year, and it's been great, like catching up with them and just catching and throwing ideas off each other and just being a bit more relaxed about the whole situation. So no, it was really good. It was definitely weird not having people like yourself there, and like it was no Italians. Like, it was very peculiar, but I'm glad we got that little bit anyway, because where we thought we were coming at the end of things, it just seemed to now looks like it was the beginning.
Only the start, yeah.
Yeah. Listen, this has been great. I've really enjoyed it. It's been my first little chat, so I've got a couple other people lined up, which I'm looking forward to talking to. But I really appreciate you taking the time to give us a little bit more of insight of what Brannmanndan's all about. And hopefully, I'd love to say if we're locked down, we'll probably do this again, but I'm hoping we're not locked down for that long. But
yeah, hopefully, yeah.
But listen, stay in contact, and thanks for your time, Danny.
Cool. Take it easy.